He is married, yet you feel his eyes linger longer than they should. His presence carries an energy that unsettles you, a pull that feels both intoxicating and dangerous. You wonder what it really means, why a man who has already pledged himself to someone else seems to want you. This question has existed for centuries, hidden in whispers, glances, and forbidden stories. And to truly understand it, we must go deeper than the surface of attraction. We must step into the psychology of desire itself. Sigmund Freud once explained that desire is rarely about the object itself. It is about what is missing, what has been repressed, what remains unsatisfied in the unconscious. When a married man wants you, it is not only about you as a person, it is about the space you occupy. In his psyche, you'd become a mirror of what he has lost or never fully embraced. His marriage may have given him stability, but stability often comes at the cost of passion. His vows may have promised loyalty, but loyalty does not erase longing. And in that gap between duty and desire, he sees you. What it really means when a married man wants you is not that you are simply irresistible, but that you awaken something within him that his life has silenced. It might be vitality, it might be freedom, it might be the parts of himself that he sacrificed in order to fit into the image of husband and provider. You remind him of the parts of his identity he buried, and suddenly, his unconscious projects those needs onto you. This is not about love, at least, not in the way we idealize it. It is about the collision between repression and temptation. Freud taught that the unconscious is like a reservoir of hidden drives, and the more we try to deny them, the stronger they grow. A married man may repress his dissatisfaction, telling himself he is happy, convincing himself that he has everything he needs. Yet one encounter, one moment, one presence can release the pressure he has been holding back for years. You become the symbol of that release. The truth is, when he wants you, he is not simply seeing you, he is seeing the reflection of what he misses in himself. It could be playfulness, it could be passion, it could be risk, it could be freedom. The unconscious disguises this search as attraction to another person, but at its core, it is an attraction. Two lost parts of the self. You are not just a woman in his eyes, you are the embodiment of what he represses. This is why his desire feels so intense. It is not the ordinary pull of attraction. It is the weight of years of unmet needs pressing against the surface of his consciousness. His marriage may be steady, predictable, safe, but safety often breeds boredom. Predictability often spontaneity, and in you, he sees something unpredictable, something alive, something that reminds him of what it feels like to want without reason. When Freud studied desire, he often returned to the idea of substitution. We rarely desire what we think we do. Instead, we substitute people and objects for deeper cravings within us. So when a married man wants you, you become the substitute for a longing he cannot name. You are not stealing him from his wife, you are reminding him of what he has stolen from himself. And this is why his ego becomes so unstable. On the surface, he is respectable, loyal, controlled. But beneath the surface, the unconscious is pulling him toward what he lacks. The conflict between his vows and his desires creates tension, and that tension looks like attraction. He may even convince himself that you are his soulmate, that fate brought you into his life. But what fate has really brought is a confrontation with his shadow. This is not to diminish the sincerity of his feelings. In the moment, they may be genuine, but they are not necessarily about you. They are about him. They are about the cracks in his marriage, the repression in his soul, the longing in his unconscious. When a married man wants you, it means he is trying to heal himself through you. But healing cannot happen through another person. Healing happens only when he confronts the parts of himself he has buried. You may feel flattered by his attention. You may feel guilty. You may feel confused. All of these feelings are valid because his desire projects itself like a storm. It feels larger than life, heavier than ordinary attraction. That is because it carries the weight of his repression. Freud described desire as a return of the repressed, and in you, he sees the return of everything he tried to bury. This is why silence, distance, or boundaries are so powerful in these situations. The moment you step back, you force him to confront that his longing is not about you, it is about him. His ego may try to twist it, to convince him that if only you responded, he would feel whole. But no response will fill the void, because the void is not outside of him, it lives within. When a married man wants you, it reveals that his life is not as whole as it appears. It shows that beneath the surface of marriage and family lies a man who is still searching searching for youth, for passion, for freedom, for the lost fragments of himself. And you become the stage on which that search plays out. Freud believed that desire is both revelation and disguise. It reveals what we lack, but it disguises it as something external. So what it really means when he wants you is that you are a disguise for his deeper hunger. You are the image he uses to cover the truth he does not want to face. The truth that his marriage does not satisfy him. The truth that his ego is fragile. The truth that his shadow is still unclaimed. And here is the paradox. The more he wants you, the more he is running from himself. He is not chasing you. He is chasing his own missing pieces, projected onto you like a canvas. You are not the cause of his unrest. You are the mirror of it. So when a married man wants you, understand that it is not simply about attraction. It is about repression. It is about the unconscious spilling over into the conscious. It is about a man who cannot admit to himself what he truly feels, and therefore assigns that feeling to you. His desire is a message, but the message is not yours. To carry it belongs to him. This is why Freud insisted that desire should always be interpreted, not blindly followed, because desire points to something deeper, something hidden. To follow it blindly is to get lost in another person's shadow, but to interpret it is to understand the truth. What he really wants is not you, but what you represent, and what you represent is freedom, vitality, the parts of himself he abandoned in order to fulfill the role of husband. You are not the enemy of his marriage. You are the evidence of his dissatisfaction. You are not the reason he feels restless. You are the reminder that he already was. To see this clearly is to free yourself. Because when you understand what it really means when a married man wants you, you realize that his desire is not proof of your worth. It is proof of his lack. It is proof of the tension within his unconscious. It is proof of the battle between his vows and his instincts. And in that clarity, you can step away without guilt. You can let him wrestle with himself. Because it is not your responsibility to heal him. His desire is not your burden to carry. It is his lesson to learn. So, what it really means when a married man wants you is this. He is not simply drawn to you, he is drawn to the reflection of himself that he has been unable to face. And until he turns inward, until he confronts the shadow he has buried, his desire will remain unfulfilled, no matter who it attaches to. Before we continue, if you have ever felt the weight of hidden desires shaping your choices, the Jung method was created to guide you. It helps you uncover the unconscious patterns of love and longing, and shows you how to reclaim your own inner power. The link is pinned in the first comment. A married man's desire is not a simple story. It is not only about attraction or temptation. It is a map of his unconscious, and Freud believed that what we call desire is often a disguise for something deeper. When a married man wants you, it is rarely because you appeared out of nowhere as some irresistible force. It is because you activated something that was already there, lying in wait beneath his surface. This desire is like a symptom, and Freud often said that symptoms speak when words are not allowed. His marriage may look stable, respectable, and even enviable, but symptoms betray the truth. The truth is that his unconscious is restless. The truth is that his ego is not satisfied with the role he plays. His want for you is not a new creation. It is an eruption of what has long been repressed. To understand this, imagine the difference between hunger and appetite. Hunger is biological. Appetite is psychological. A married man may not be hungry for connection in the biological sense, but he develops an appetite for what feels forbidden, what feels alive. Appetite comes from memory, from longing, from the parts of us that were once fed and are now starving. When he sees you, that appetite awakens. You are not the food. You are the reminder that he has been starving. Freud believed that repression always returns. The more someone buries a desire, the more powerfully it returns in disguised forms. Marriage, with all its demands and duties, often becomes a place of repression. He represses his dissatisfaction. He represses his longing for adventure. He represses the feelings that do not fit the role of loyal husband. But repression does not erase. It only delays, and eventually it returns, often in ways that feel uncontrollable. So when he wants you, it means his unconscious is breaking. Through the walls he has built, he becomes the vessel for what he cannot admit to himself. He may even tell you that you are special, that you awakened something he never felt before. But in reality, what you awakened was already there, waiting to surface. His marriage covered it, but it never killed it. The danger is in believing his story as absolute truth. Because desire always feels like truth in the moment. It feels urgent, overwhelming, undeniable. But Freud warned that desire can also be a misdirection. We believe we want the other person, but what we really want is something they represent. You may represent youth. You may represent freedom. You may represent passion. None of those things belong to you. They belong to him. He simply projects them onto you. This projection creates intensity, and intensity creates confusion. You might feel that his longing means he is ready to leave everything for you, that his feelings are unique, that fate has tied you together. But if you look deeper, you will see that this intensity is not about your connection, it is about his. Repression finally finding an outlet. Freud often explored the tension between the ego, the ID, and the super. The ID wants pleasure, the superego demands morality, and the ego tries to balance the two. In a married man, the superego tells him to be loyal, to maintain his vows, to follow the rules. The ID pushes him toward desire, temptation, freedom, and the ego, caught in the middle, creates conflict. His wanting you is that conflict made visible. He is not whole. He is split, and that split disguises itself as attraction. This is why his desire can feel both irresistible and unstable. One day he wants you, the next he retreats. One moment he confesses passion, the next he hides in guilt. This instability is not about you, it is about the war inside him. And the longer the war goes on, the more he is drawn toward someone who feels like an escape. But here is the truth, you cannot be his escape, because no matter how far he runs, his unconscious follows him. Even if he had you, even if he left his marriage, the same repression would eventually return, because the root of his desire is not external, it is internal. It is his own psyche asking him to face what he has denied. So what it really means, when a married man wants you, is that his life is demanding change. He may not admit it, but his unconscious is screaming for it. You are simply the symbol where that scream becomes visible. Now, think of the role silence plays here. Silence is the opposite of indulgence. It does not feed his ego. It does not reassure him. It does not become another outlet for his repression. Silence forces him back into himself. When you do not respond, when you do not give him the validation he craves, he is left to face the emptiness alone. That emptiness is his real lesson. Freud said that people are often more afraid of their desires than of their fears, because desires reveal our truth, and truth disrupts the life we have built. A married man who desires you may feel more terrified of that truth than of losing you. And so he runs, he hides, he denies, but none of it erases what his unconscious has revealed. This is why you must be careful. His desire may feel flattering, intoxicating, even sacred, but it is not a declaration of your worth. It is a declaration of his lack. It does not prove that you are his destiny. It proves that he has not yet faced himself. And until he does, his desire will always be unstable, always fragile, always projecting. When you understand this, you are free. Free from the illusion that his desire defines you. Free from the trap of believing you must carry his burden. Free from the fantasy that his longing can save either of you. Because the truth is, desire is not salvation. Desire is a message. And the message belongs to him. Most powerful thing you can do is to refuse to carry what is not yours. Let him face his own shadow. Let him wrestle with his own repression. Let him discover that what he seeks in you is what he has abandoned in himself. That is his work, not yours. And so, what it really means when a married man wants you is this. His unconscious has spoken. It has revealed the cracks in his life, the repression in his soul, the fragility of his ego. You are the mirror, but you are not the cure. You are the symbol, but you are not the solution. He must turn inward, or he will continue to project outward. And as Freud taught, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our lives, and we will call it fate. A married man who wants you will call it fate. But fate is not what brought you together. His repression did, and only when he confronts that repression can he find peace. But there is one more truth hidden in this dynamic. When a married man wants you, what he truly reveals is his relationship with himself. Every word, every glance, every silence is a confession. He is not confessing his love for you. He is confessing his inability to live fully inside the choices he has already made. And that confession, though silent, is louder than any declaration of passion. Freud believed that desire always carries a double meaning. On the surface, it points outward, toward another person. But beneath the surface, it always points inward. toward what has been lost. When he reaches for you, he is really reaching for the younger version of himself, the man who still believed in freedom, the man who had not yet sacrificed parts of his soul to routine and duty. You are not the beginning of his story. You are the reminder that his story has cracks. This is why the intensity feels so heavy. It is not your presence alone that creates the weight. It is the entire history of his repression pressing through a single doorway, and that doorway is you. The pressure is overwhelming because it does not belong only to this moment. It belongs to every moment he denied himself, every time he silenced his own truth, every choice that was made for comfort rather than passion. So, when a married man wants you, do not mistake it for destiny. It is not destiny, it is dissonance. It is the sound of a life that no longer fits, trying to find space to breathe. And in your presence, he breathes for a moment. But breathing is not living. And until he learns to face the parts of himself he is denied, his breath will remain shallow, his desire unsatisfied, and his ego fragile.